Smash Factor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. Man, that is beyond long.
Look at this. He's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome, everybody, to week 29 of the 2020-2021 PGA season, the Valspar Championship in Tampa Bay, Florida, just outside Tampa Bay. Up here on a Tuesday morning. Sorry for the delay this week. We are our house building adventure actually took a positive turn and looks to be about 3 weeks ahead of schedule. So this week we kind of ramping up some things around here. Has my schedule thrown off, but all content will still be out. Just a little delayed between this and stuff coming out later today. But by time Tuesday night ends, everything that is normally out will be out. So we'll get on that later on today. Last week, recap for the crazy team event, the Zurich Classic. I was really pleased because I felt the strategy that we laid out, most of the stuff we kept with the premium members was pretty accurate. It just, really it was Sunday, just kind of killed a lot. The strategy being of, now I didn't think it'd be a basically historic low 6-6, but I did mention several different spots that extremely low 6-6 is most likely, especially with only potentially 33 of the 80 teams getting through. So just mathematically it'd be low. Then you have one or two chalky people potentially miss, and it could be really low. Most every tournament that I was in and tracked, it was well under 1%. So extremely low. I had a few 6-6s. Really going into Sunday morning felt really great. And then Team Finau, Hovland, Kokrak, Malnati, and Straka, who are all ones I'm kind of pretty heavy on, or keys to my Sunday, shot a combined plus 22. So not the ideal finish for Sunday. So a lot of the subs had good weeks. Definitely preached a MME week. I even mentioned I was going to extend my men's salary way down lower than normal just to allow for more variations in the build than you may not want. And I think all those things I'm still holding on to those notes for next year because I'll go right back at it. I think it'll still kind of be like that. It's just so unpredictable with the the alternate shot part of it that you never know what's going to happen. You really need just teams to do well on best ball, be right there, and the make or break comes down to Friday to get through the cut, and then to win comes down to Sunday. We got the Friday part pretty good. Did not get the Sunday part gone through with. I think the only thing Cantley and Schauffele was one I had some of, and they actually shot well. I think they shot the best of the day, 5 under. Wawrinski was one I had some that went up, but basically everybody else shot way over par, and then those 5 I mentioned earlier was a combined 22 over, I believe. So not great. Betting wise, we chopped the first round leader on Garnett and Stallings, 66-1, paid 33-1. So another hit for us on the season. My best season by far, going first round leader in outrights. Didn't have the greatest fall swing with everything included. But now we're turning over positive in that aspect. So continue to build on that. A light week for matchups just because I didn't want to put a lot into the unpredictability of that team format, especially once we hit the first round leader. I was like, all right, we'll just kind of do what we can, see what we can get done, and keep it light for the week overall. As always, use the code SMASH, get 20% off. Now includes a 7-day free trial. Just go click, pick your package out, put your information in. If you don't like it, you can immediately cancel. You'll never see a charge happen as long as you do it within the first 7 days. You can also use SMASH20 to get 20% off any gear in the GC store. If you are a new member, be sure to reach out. We have a special code for you, and I'll put that up on Slack and maybe repost the post because I hadn't done that in a while for the premium members, just so you guys are aware of the code. March to the Master winners. I still haven't heard from 2 of the 3. And I know last week a lot of people just checked out. So one more time, here's the users' names that you have on Gup's Corner. I'll also email you, but it's Dangos327, MTBUTORAC, and then Adam Burden. So you 3 reach out to me, let me know. We'll get you hooked up once Dangos was the first pick, so he gets a pick first, and we'll go down the line. And I'll email you as well once we get all three of those rocking and rolling and get you guys your prizes. Appreciate everybody that jumped in and took advantage of that opportunity. We will have more of those promos coming up as we march towards the PGA Championship and U.S. Open. Rate and reviews on iTunes. Those big major weeks, I always pull random winners from our latest rate and reviews. And I keep those in stock. So if you've done it already, great. If you don't remember, it's been a while, go ahead and do it again because I just keep pulling them and put them in the pile for the big random draw. Subscribe and like us on YouTube. Even if you don't watch the video portion, it helps, goes a long way. Leave in the comments who you want to play 10K and above this week. Who are you going all in on 10K and above this week? Listener League, back up to 500 after we shrunk it last week for the unknown. We filled it super quick. DK was impressed. 1K to first, 3 max, limited rake, flat payouts. The descriptions in this, the links in this, the descriptions in the podcast. Click on it, get your 3 teams in. What, $22 to win possibly $1,000? Pretty good deal. One of the lower rakes out there. Last week's winner, Trick 8181. You know, had a lot of, all the teams I had that he had. I just didn't get them put in the great order like he did. Tremendous team, 645.15. Smith Leishman, Finau champ. He survived a couple of the bad Sundays. Straka Teeter was another one that had a terrible Sunday, but he survived it. Mitchell Sneeds, Garnett Stallings, and Shank Duncan. So congrats to him. I have invited him to the Listener League of Champions at the end of the year, and we will do that again this week. So jump in there and let's fill that up. It's back to 500 entries and 1,000 in first place. Course preview. This is one we don't have to re-familiarize ourselves with as it's been here for, I think, almost our 20-plus years. Copperhead course at Innisbrook Resort, Valspar, 7,300 par 71. One of the unique things about this is the 5 par 3s and 4 par 5s. So don't see that a lot. Almost half the holes is either par 3 or par 5. So a little bit different, with this typically being a higher scoring tournament, meaning not as good. The par 5 scoring does come into play because that's where you can kind of get your good and then try to survive the tough par 4s. And a lot of these par 3s are long as well. Being played, the biggest deal now is this is being played about 6 weeks later than it normally does. The biggest deal for me is you're going to see warmer weather, probably a little bit more potential for storms this time of year, just knowing where it's at. Although this week, nothing much out there. And then the Bermuda should have taken over from most of the overseed, especially on the green. So if you want to look at chipping and putting and all that stuff, I'm just using Bermuda. I think being almost 4 days away from May 1st, if it's not fully Bermuda, it's going to mostly play like Bermuda, especially putting. So that's kind of how I'm taking it. This week, the weather, 80 degrees and sunny. There's some wind out there, but nothing that really favors anything. And I don't really see, you got 10 to 15% chance of rain here and there, but nothing crazy right now. If that changes by late tomorrow night, we'll obviously take a look at that. But right now, I really think we're going to get a good week. Don't have to worry about wave stacking or anything like that. Cut, I'm going to go with +2. Could see +3. I think it could play a little tough this week. I think the biggest thing we'll want to pay attention to and take notes of for next year, if the schedule is going to stay the same, this Florida swing has been switching up the last few years, and then COVID didn't help anything, is Bermuda, if you're not familiar, the biggest thing with this, how thick it can get as it continues to grow and grow and grow, and chipping out of it can be troublesome. So, guys that even have course history here may not have seen that too often, and it really puts even more emphasis on being in the fairways and hitting greens. I think it's going to play a little tougher because of that. So I'm going to go +2, +3 cut. And I'm going to have the winner. I think it's going to be right where it was the last several years, somewhere between 7 and 9 under in that range. I think getting to double digits would be a achievement this week. So I think tough scoring, kind of playing like that. I think that's what we're going to look at on the stats. Prior winners here, we know Casey's gone back-to-back. Hadman won it in 2017 at 14 under, which is one of the lower scores in a while. Schwartzel, Jordan Spieth, John Sinden, Kevin Strillman, Luke Donald, Gary Woodland, Furyk, Retief Goosen, some runner-ups, Kokrak, Usti, Reed, Tiger, Cantley, Reed, Nah, Furyk, Webb, KJ Choi, Stewart Sink. So you can kind of get a grasp of the kind of players that can win here. Not doesn't narrow down to one specific player at all. But I think the guys that are hitting their irons the best this week has the best opportunity, because a lot of these guys know they have to club down. They don't want to get in danger and trouble off the tee, especially around the snake pit. So rankings I'm looking at stat-wise, I'm on good drives. I'm bringing that in a little bit. Stroke gains, ball striking, opportunities inside 12 feet, bogey avoidance, par 5, DK scoring, and accurate approach. So I've kind of blended that all in there. Of course, we'll always bring Bermuda putting in on a week like this, take a look at it more as a guide than all be all. Especially looking at the splits. 38 guys, which is probably the most we've seen in a while, new to the course this year. I got 152 now. I know we'll add the 4 Monday Q guys. Will get added probably here in sometime this morning. So I get us at 156, which is the largest field we've seen in a while. Last week was 160, but it was 80 teams, so a little bit different. But individual stroke play is a pretty big field, so we got to anticipate. We get that T65 and ties. We could see another super low 6-6 week again. Still a big, how do you prepare for that? I do feel like on weeks like that, I like to get a little bit more variation into my builds, and I like to take a little more risk on how I'm building. Not to bank on that 5-6 is going to do well, but I want more randomness in the builds. I'm still going to get to the pool I want to get to, but maybe go about building just a little bit differently. Ranges this week: 10K we have 5 guys, 9K we have 8 guys, 8K we have 11 guys, 7K 36 guys, 6K 92 guys, and then I imagine most of the Monday Q guys will fall in that 6K range. So 96 of the 156 is going to be 6,900 or less. So that's almost 62% of the field is 6,900 or less. So that kind of tells you in and of itself, how you build and everything can be so much different this week with so many guys in that 6K range. Sweet 16 as usual. We go through the 4 major salary ranges. I'll give you my top 3 picks and a bubble boy, fade of the week, sleeper of the week, gut feel, betting, one and done, and we get out of here. Keeping it short this week since coming out a little later. I know everybody's wanting to power through and listen to the pod, so definitely want to keep it, a 30-minute mark or less. I feel pretty good about where I'm at on my thinking right now. Obviously, we'll come back later on today with some more premium content for the members and stuff like that. 9K and above, I'm going to start with Sung Jae. I have a feeling he'll probably get talked up. He should be popping in most models. $9,200. 3rd in stats, 16th in recent form, 2nd in course fit. Only played her once in 2019. If you remember, this is one of the tournaments that was canceled right after everything got shut down, and it didn't get replayed once the reboot was up. So, but he got 4th, and he loves Bermuda putting. I think this course will putt truer to Bermuda than even it did back in 2019 or before. It's just a little bit later in the year. More back in 2019, it was overseed. So I like Sanjay, and I think there's going to be 2 or 3 clear chalky areas where you have to decide how you get through those spots this week. Probably Connors, Hoffman, Kokrak, off the top of my head. Casey, obviously back-to-back winner here. So I don't know how much Sanjay will get because of that, but I'm not afraid to have plenty of them. DJ, I just think it's a week. I like how he played at the RBC, came back strong. I think the things he's working on will help him here. If he gets the iron game worked out a little bit better, he can always win. But now I'm getting him the second cheapest priced up top. I mean, one off. So, JT's the highest price. So normally DJ is always the highest price, more times than not. Saving a little bit. 6th here in 2019. I like that as well. That was the first time he'd played it, at least since 2016. And I don't think he's going to be high owned. I think you're going to see balance build dominate a lot of the talk. People don't get comfortable in the 6Ks, especially when you have 96 guys to kind of go through. And I think 9K and some of the 8Ks are going to be, a lot of talked up guys that people feel comfortable playing, and they'd rather hit maybe 1 10K, get some 8 9s, and then a couple 7s, and maybe not even dip into the 6s, or maybe only pick 1 6K to get down to. And I don't know if DJ or JT will really be high on, but I think JT will. He just look a little bit more popular in general than DJ. DJ burned a lot, including myself at the Masters. Did come back at RBC, was 9% owned. you know, and he caught a backdoor 13th place, but he still finished 13th. So I'll go right back to him. Neiman, great ball striker. We know that $9,100, pretty good price savings. Putts pretty well on Bermuda. He got a 37th here in 2019. I think he's another guy that maybe people bet on him. But when you start building, I think he's a guy that people may skip over. There's so many guys right there that people are going to have to choose between with Sung Jae. Even Connor's $400 more than Sung Jae. Hatton will probably be a guy that goes just because of his history here, maybe a little under the radar. Answer's been pretty popular lately. Henley's been somewhat popular. And then you get to the AK range where you're saving money off Neiman. He may not be talked up as much. And so I like Neiman. I'll go there. I like the betting price too, 33 to 1, but I like him for DK this week. My bubble boy is Reed. Really just comes down to strategy for me. He, you know, a 7th, a 38th, and a 2nd here. Did miss a cut in 2019. He got an 8th at the Masters. You know, Reed's hard to predict when he's going to be on or not. I like him. The reason I got him on the bubble boy is if people are going to talk about this week, I don't think so. So I think he's going to be lower owned, and he's a guy I'll go to. So maybe if I decide I'm only going to play 2 of these 5, right now I think I would play DJ, and then I'm picking between Hovland and Reed. And I would fade JT and Casey. Casey because I think he's going to be super chalky. He's 3rd in my model, so I don't mind him. Back-to-back wins here. He did miss a cut at RBC, but at that price and his ownership, you know, now he has to. I mean, let's say top 5 would be conservative, probably top 3. You know, depending on how the board laid out. And so I don't know. I'm willing to fade that. And JT's, you know, he's got top 3, right? He hasn't played here since 2017. He had a missed cut then, an 18th the year before. So, and JT can get a little squirrely off the tee. Not that I'm predicting that by any means. But if I was going to pay up this week, I think I'd take the DJ stance. I know he's going to be less owned than JT. And then I'd figure between Hovland and Reed. Now, if they're both somewhat not just average owned, maybe I take those 3, fade the 2, and then I decide what I'm going to do with Connor type of deal. Drop down to the AK range. I love Charlie Hoffman. I think he's going to be one that is talked up. He's number 1 in my overall model, 7th in stats, 3rd in recent form, 48th in course fit. He's a hit or miss here so far. An 11th, a miscut, and an 18th. So 2 top 20s and then 2 missed cuts. Great form coming in. 2nd at Valero, 18th at RBC. Stat-wise, I said he was 7th. Bogey avoidance I like. I like how he played Valero. This isn't necessarily similar to Valero, but, you know, there's some there. I just like him a lot, and I think it's really going to come down to right now, do I want to play probably 2 of the 3? I think Hoffman, Kokrak, probably 2 of the 4. Hoffman, Kokrak, Casey, and Connors, I would say are probably going to be right up there inside the top 6 with probably could be top 4 owned. And with that, maybe I decide to play which 2 or the 4 there. Right now, I like Hoffman. I'm saving on him. I don't need him to do as well as Casey or even Connors. And I don't hate Connors. I know he wouldn't win in my top 4, but I'm going to kind of see how that plays out as we get, you know, deep dive into the day, listen to all the pods later on. Next for me is Bubba. I think he'll be a guy that doesn't really get talked about. Doesn't feel like a Bubba track. 4th here, though, in 2019. He did miss a cut in 2017. A 26th at the Masters. You know, I just think he's playing all right. I think he can – I don't know. He got a 4th here in 2019. So I certainly – a guy of that caliber, he's not coming in horrible form by any means. $8,900 probably won't be looked at much at all. So super lower or a lot or lower owned in what could be a chalky range. I don't mind Bubba at all, $8,900. And then Kokrak's the last one. I think he will be talked up. I'm just not going to get off of him because he's $8,700. So I need a top 20 from him with some upside as opposed to, you know, Connors and Casey. His last, he's gotten better every single year. So he missed the cut in 2016, then a 58th, an 8th, and a 2nd. 2nd was kind of brutal. We had him as an outright that week. Couldn't get up and down on 18. He's 17th in putting splits here. He's 14th in stats overall, 11th in recent form. This is not much to hate about him. He's one that kind of fizzled a little bit Sunday with Perez. But I go back to him at 8,700. I think this course fits him well. I think he likes it. And, you know, this will be his 5th straight year to play it. And if he gets better, the only place he can get better is first. So I like him this week at 8,700. My bubble boy was Rose. Really. I mean, let's not forget, like, he was doing well even when before he withdrew. Obviously, he went in the water like 2 or 3 times many weeks ago. I think it was 6 weeks ago or so when he was playing with Spieth. But he was still playing well in that tournament. It was on a Saturday. So he'd already made the cut and all that. Well, then he comes back in, 7th at the Masters. That's the first time he played. And he said he could have come back before, but he decided I just want to focus on the Masters. Good move, top 10. Played well last week with Stinson. A 5th here in 2018, the only time he's played it. And we know if he just gets that iron game going and continues it, he can show up and be there. My biggest note on Rose and why I have him as a bubble boy is, what is the industry pulse going to be? Is everybody back on Rose? Because when he's popular, he gets pretty popular in DraftKings, and he was a guy I would fade more times than not. But if he's still just kind of like, man, I don't know about him, I don't mind going back to him, kind of like a Bubba deal, right? Where I can play in this 8K range and get different and then still play my other plays, I'd rather do that than eat chalk in the 8K range and have to decide between the KCs and Connors and all that stuff. 7K range, I like Glover this week. Good history here. The price, I think, is where's he at? Oh, there he is. He's higher than the list. I thought he was. $7,700. He similar to Kokrak, a miscut, then an 18th and a 13th. He did get a 74th in 2018, but he hadn't missed a cut since that 2016. He's top 3rd in the field in putting splits on Bermuda, a 19th at the Honda, a 4th at Valero, a 33 at RBC. Really good form coming in here. We know he's got great iron play. He's 4th in good drives, 13th in bogey avoidance. So when I think of Glover, my old thinking, because I remember so many tournaments where he just had that big blow-up hole and it would kill him and he missed the cut by 1 or something like that. It looks like all that's, he's down that in some. He's not, his one weakness on my stats is par 5 DK, but outside of that, he's pretty strong everywhere else. So I like him at 7,700. CH3, we continue to see, increases with him. We know he's had some game refocus from some of our inside people we've talked to. He's 8th in the putting rank here. He's 7,700 as well. Love the betting number at 80. A 5th here, a 49th here, a 40 here. At that price, like a made cut is great, especially if it's a low 6-6 week. I feel safe with CH3 here. Plus, I think he's got top 10 upside. So top 20 upside is all you need. An 18th at RBC. So I like Charles this week. I'm going to go back to CH3. Cam Davis, hit or miss guy. I talked about this before the RBC. I wanted to see how he played a club down course. We got 25th, right? He's 7,500. So the price says 25th. I'll take that all day long. I like that. He's made 3 straight cuts. Honda, Valero, RBC. Putting is always going to be an issue with him. If he doesn't have putting great splits anywhere. But stat-wise, he's 4th overall. So 6th in good drive, 2nd in ball striking, 6th in par 5 DK, 30th in accurate approach. I like everything about Davis this week. $7,500, great price. So those 3 I really like in the 7K. And so I'm hoping the 8K continues to get big love. And I just parse through some that aren't as popular there, and I'll get to some of those down in the gut feel type deal. But I think there are some there that'll get some attention, but not as much as others. Chris Kirk, I think he may go under the radar, especially with some of his course history here. So I really like in the 7K. The one 7K guy that's my bubble boy this week that I do think will get some love is McCarthy, a 9th here in 2019. His last 3 tournaments, a 3rd, a 34th, and a 13th. So great for him coming in. His stats are just okay. We know he relies on the putter a lot. Bermuda hasn't been his best though, so that's why I have him on the bubble. I don't want to play a chalky McCarthy. I'd rather just bet him at the 100, 125 to 1. But we'll see how that comes. That's why I have him on the bubble. 6K range, I think there are a lot of good one-offs, good flyers, low-owned. There's not a lot of guys I think I want to be all in on this week, so I can see where the balance build comes in. But I think you could be unique in your balance build and still get, maybe 4 to 6 of these 6K guys, and you don't have to have a ton of them. And I think it's going to be so spread out because we don't have I don't think we have a super chalky 6-play guy like we can have on some weeks. So you don't have to have 4 to 6% in most cases. I don't see anybody being over 8% right now, maybe 9% most, but probably I don't even think 8% would touch it. So it's okay to go down there. You just don't have to be stupid overweight on it. My first play is Tom Lewis, 36th at the Honda, 54th at Valero, 25th at RBC. He's 18th in my stat model. He's starting to get enough stats to really come in. Obviously plays overseas. Putting is an issue. That's probably the one weakness I have with him. But the price, again, $6,900, I just want to make a cut. just give me a 6-6 and make the cut and move on. My next up is Scott Stallings. Kind of hurt us a little bit Sunday, but continue to like him. Another guy missed the cut in 2016, then 68, 31st, 9th. I'm not saying it's a weird week, so I don't know if course history matters any more or less than recent form, but there are a lot of guys I noticed the more they play it, they get better. Although I've seen plenty of guys that are like 8th, miscut, 10th or whatever. So it's not the end all be all for me, but I do take especially when I'm down to this range, and if I can get a guy that's under 7K and he's got that upside here and he's shown continue improvement as he's gotten to know the course and manage the course better, I do like that. He's 11th in my putting splits on Bermuda. That's huge for me. So I like Scott Stallings, $6,700. Next, this one I had to like double take and dive. I didn't imagine him popping like he did, but Roger Sloan, 25th at the Honda, tough course in itself in Florida. Missed the cut at Valero. Putting is okay. It's below average, but then you look at the stats, he's 29th overall for me. Really good, accurate approach, good drives. He's 40th. Ball striking 32nd, 45th in bogey avoidance. So nothing that eye pops to you, but at $6,500, I can't imagine him being 2% owned. Definitely a guy I'll keep my eye on, especially in MMEs and stuff like that. Played well with Battley in the best ball, 64. I think it was 1 off, maybe 2 off the first round leader, and then they just imploded on the alternate shot. Would be interested to go back and see if we can decipher who was off that day. Maybe he's got a little bit of good form in it. It's kind of hidden because Battley sucks so much. I have no idea on that, but I do know they played well on best ball. So 6,500, I don't need much from him, just a mid cut. So I like him a lot. And I like Wes Bryan. Maybe getting a little bit of form back. It's hard to say because he didn't have great form going into RBC. That's obviously a course he likes and knows well and has won at. So 25th there, I don't want to lay too much into it, but at $6,400, he's a bubble boy only for that. But the reason why I put him at the bubble boy is he got a 7th here when he played it in 2017, the only time he has. So at least a course he's familiar with and done well at, kind of similar to RBC, not as strong because he's only done it once. So that's why he's the bubble boy though. And $6,400 again, just need the made cut. So I like him as some GPP, MME flyers, large field flyers this week. Fade of the week for me is Homa. He's just a popular guy in the industry, and I get it. A miscut at the Masters. He ranks 116th in this field in putting splits in Bermuda for me. And the reason that I know he's going to get better and better on Bermuda the more he plays. He just didn't grow up playing it, right? He was always on the West Coast, POA. He won in California. Probably is, I would guess, I didn't pull it yet, would probably even be better on bent than Bermuda. Bermuda's tough if you've never been around it or gotten used to it. And there are several pro golfers, a lot of them that just don't like Bermuda in general. Some of them play it their whole life, so they do like it. So his stats don't really, he's 45th in my stat model, so there's enough there, and I feel like he's going to be well over 15, at least 15% or more, that at 8,100, I don't mind fading him this week. He's terrific ball striker. But if the name just starts carrying the weight, especially at 8,100, I'll just pivot off that and take a chance elsewhere. My sleeper of the week, I got him around 3 to 4% owned, is Hadwin. Burned me by 1, I think, at RBC. Not great. It was he's one of the guys, so he shot like +5. He was -5 with like 4 to go on Friday. And I think the cut wind up being -1. And then he bogeyed 18. Because if he'd have birdied 18, he'd been -6 on the day. But he bogeys it, finished -4 on the day, +1 for the tourney. He finishes 2 out of the cut line. So, I don't know if he burned a lot of people that week or not. But before that, he had a 23rd at Valero and an 8th at Honda, which I like. He's one of those hit or miss guys here. A miscut. He won here, a 12th and a miscut. So he's very comfortable with this place. At $7,600, a sub 5% type guy. I like him a lot this week. I'll be on him. Gut feel plays of the week. I'm going to go with Usti. Brutal tee shot in the playoff. Feel bad for him. I don't know how many people are going to go to him at 9,500 because I didn't want to originally, but 7th, 16th, and 2nd here. Certainly knows how to play here. Top 10, top 15%, 20% in putting splits for me. Stats are good, not great. but I think you're going to get a very, very low owned. I don't know how low owned. That's just what I'm wanting to see. That's why he's kind of in the gut feel. Keep our eye on Usti, $9,500. Luke List, $7,000. He's down 29th in my model. A miscut, then a 27th and a 16th here. Another guy has improved each time. Missed the cut at the Honda, 17th at Valero, 58th at RBC, 11th in my stat model overall. We know that doesn't include putting with Mr. Luke List, but being that he has played well here in a 27th and a 16th, at least it's done good enough. And again, I like a List at a course where he's only got to get to 8 under to maybe win it, not 18 under with a hot putter. He doesn't need, if he just has an average putter to get to 8 under, can be a lot different than trying to force yourself to get to 18 under. So List is on my list, no pun intended. Gut feel play number 3 is Sam Burns. Maybe seeing some life back after the kind of downswing off of the high. Great history here, a 12th and a 30th. We know, Bermuda Burns as a nickname. Valero missed the cut, but then a 39th at RBC, 25th in my stat model. We saw some good stuff out of him at the team stuff with Billy Ho. $7,900. I feel like that you're still getting him on what could be an upswing back. We've seen his high, right? He's been leading the tournament on a Sunday. I like him a lot here. He's just down the list for me. Definitely be in next to last player pool for me. Maybe potentially making the cut into the final pool. Palmer, 40th in my model, which is kind of lower for him than usual. 65th in putting split rankings. Played here twice, made the cut twice, 42nd, 28th. 8,500 seems like a fair price for him. Him and Rahm were ones that finished strong Sunday, came back. I think they finished T7. He had a 17th at a Valero, 34th at the Masters. His stats are just okay. They're not great, but if he doesn't get a lot of talk up, I don't know how that'll be this week because he is trending upwards, and we had him before the trend, so we definitely that's why he's down here on this gut feel list. Like I like him this week in general, and I think he's playing really good golf. But he'll be one to make that last decision on come tomorrow night. Top 5 that pop and 2 long shots provided by Monkey Knife Fight. Use the code GUPS, GUPS, 100% match up to $50. Go check out their games. Very unique way to play, more of a prop-based, us against them type of deal. We'll have some good specials coming up and promos as we head to the PGA Championship with them as we do for every major golf event. Use the code GUPS, GUPS, 100% match up to $50. My top 5 right now, I like Sungjae at 28, Bubba 45, Hoffman 40, Kirk 50. Then I had a tie with CH3 or Glover. I kind of like both those guys at 80. My 2 long shots, Tom Lewis 150, McCarthy 100, and then one I just put in just because Steph Curry's on an unreal run. My Steph Curry bomb of the week is Roger Sloan 250 to 1. So super long shot there. Maybe that's a top 20 play. You're still going to get good money on that. One and done this week. Back to a normal setup. First 5 that kind of got me right now, just the way everything's. This is a place and time where probably need to revisit where you're at in not only the segment but overall. Because coming up, we got here Valspar, then you got Wells Fargo, which is a good payout. PGA Championship, which obviously last year was almost $2 million payout. Then the Memorial, which is a great payout, and then the U.S. Open. All those in the next month and a half. So maybe plot out where you're at. This may be a week where we look at like I put down Hoffman, Neiman, Sungjae, Bubba, Kokrak. Maybe if you're going to fade a Casey, you could take him here, or Connors. I don't know if I'd go DJ, although he could run away with it. Depends on if you maybe are saving him. If you still have him, I'd assume you're saving him for like a U.S. Open type deal. Hatton could be potentially lower owned this week. Hovland, I think he could be a great play as well. As always on the Wednesday Mover and Shaker, I will give you my final 5, of which 2 I will pick from for my 3 one and dones that I have going. And then also Wednesday night, 5:30 Eastern. That's subject to this week's being a little bit different because there's so much going on at the house. I will do the E9 for sure. The timing, have to get that nailed down between me and my wife's schedule. But everything else will be on par. Don't forget, use the code SMASH. Get 20% off any package you want to try out right now. Free trial included. Get you NASCAR, UFC, NBA, MLB, this week, the horse racing, OG, he's our, head guru of all the horse racing stuff, puts out tremendous stuff for Friday and Saturday's races. Ryan, spot on many areas of the NASCAR last Sunday, and that's tough to do at Talladega. Released the winner early in the week, said jump on him. He gave three guys a one-on-one. Tommy started lights out fire Saturday night for UFC. The endings didn't go necessarily how we wanted. It was a night of emotional swings on that for sure. But, great intel on all that we got going. Then MLB and NBA daily. NBA getting close to postseason. That'll be fun. It's easier to dissect and easier to not as much unknown. Right now last night I was just looking through the stuff even before deciding to play anything on all the Q's, question marks, and outs and switching and all that kind of stuff. Baseball's heating up. Todd's going to catch hot fire here soon. He's just, plugging along. It's still early in the season. Don't want to overreact or push through. So these guys are working hard for you. All that's included in our packages. Everything's one price. Always will be that way. You just choose whether you want the tools or not. Our green machine, I think, is top notch right now. And by the time we get to football season, it's going to be even better. So come check all that out. And our Warrior Room Slack channel is amazing right now. It continues to grow. Tons of people in there with great insight, giving great ideas as that community continues to grow in and of itself. We appreciate all the support. We'll talk to you guys later on. A big week this week. Have a blessed week. Thank you.